Silva.
And it's not Saturday night.
And it's definitely not Saturday night. So let's see. Let me make sure we got everything right. Sorry about that, guys. And boom, we are golden. All right. How are you doing, Jenny?
Well, I'm good. Work's been busy, thus the long break. So sorry, guys. I had to do some
Yeah.
traveling for work, and also my husband is away, so I don't have my mic, so my sound sucks.
So you were at the infamous Arab gathering in
Yes,
Dearborn.
I
I saw
was.
lots of clips. Look, I'm gonna give the Arabs a critique. Okay. All right. Y'all don't take this personal. Y'all know what they're gonna do. Okay. Like, that
Yeah,
they're gonna take all of the clips and they're gonna weave it together to be some like crazy
yeah,
and terrorist gathering in Dearborn.
yeah,
You really got to get ahead of that, right? I don't
yeah,
understand why people aren't putting out clips prior to that, because like you send me these
yeah.
pictures and and they're great, like they're wonderful. There's so many wonderful things, and it's like, how the f did Laura Loomer was the first one to drop a clip? You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I
I
didn't
need
even know about
everyone to
that.
work on that. Okay.
But yeah, well, we don't have as many resources as the other side, let's
Correct.
say that. um, and we try to work with honesty, not deception, which
Right.
always gives you, puts you on a lower. So, I mean, all that it was, we were talking about the crisis in Palestine
Mm-hmm.
and the uh, on, sort of uh, unacceptable influence that Israel has on our politics and
Of
that kind of
course.
thing.
Yeah.
There was nothing anti-Semitic. There were lots of Jews
Nothing.
there, including Medea Benjamin, the founder of Code Pink, who is
Mhm.
Jewish. Many, many Jewish people and people of all persuasions gathering because they do not think that babies in Gaza should be starved to death.
Of course,
So,
right, as all normal, decent human beings
yeah.
believe, right?
And I
Um,
think, part of it is we know that they're going to try to paint it as some terrorist,
right,
anti-Semitic, thing. So, like, what's even the point?
right.
No matter what we do.
I know. I saw Rokana had gone, and he gave a great
Yeah,
speech. I watched
he did.
most of it. He did a really great job, and of course, just this like lunatic account. I know the name because it's like this dude, and I don't know if it's him or if it's his kid. In it's like a t-ball picture is his profile picture. Do you know what I'm talking about? His name is Stu something. Of course, he
Oh,
does this edit with Rokana making a joke about, being Hamas
uh,
supporters or something like that. And he just edits it like out throughout, and of
yeah.
course, but unfortunately, it got a couple million views. Um, so,
Yeah. I mean,
and
I think
Rokana,
there's next. I think the American people and people generally are starting to catch on to this,
they
and
absolutely are. Yeah.
so I worry about that less. And it was
Yeah.
a really great gathering.
Yeah.
I
You got
learned a
to meet
lot.
Tony
Met a lot
Aguilera in person.
in person. Yeah, other
He's
people
such a
too.
sweetie.
I got to meet Rania Khalek and Medea Benjamin and just
Mm-hmm.
tons of other great people who are,
Yes.
dedicating their lives to the struggle for Palestinian human rights.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
which
yeah,
is of course an extension to all human rights, right?
of course.
And and so that was really neat. You sent me lots of pictures. I loved seeing it all and everything. I know I was so mad. I get like super defensive of you, especially because I'm like, my friend was there, damn it, and it wasn't anything like you're saying it was, bitches.
Of
But
course it wasn't, and of course they're gonna do,
yeah,
and I got I'll say
yeah,
lots of great swag. Like there was a bazaar. I got so much cool, like so many cool little
hmm,
onesies for my baby and
I know.
Palestine. Yeah. So it was great. I recommend everybody come next year. It was a really, really great time. And just being around like-minded people who recognize the
Hmm.
horror of what's happening was really cathartic.
Yeah, and let's pray that by next year it's over the genocide, and perhaps some reckoning is starting to come about. Some response, some people being held responsible for what they have done. Let's
Well, that's not
pray.
going to happen, but
I do.
maybe.
I actually have more faith that one
Mhm.
way or another, perhaps not in a court of law, but certainly I think as we have seen is that with every single day that passes, that Israel becomes more of a pariah state, right? And I have said this since December of 2023 that there is no stopping them. Like that, well, they will not stop on their own
Yeah.
because what they have done is so horrific. And we knew this in December 2023 that they simply can't. Because when the
Yeah.
world sees what they've done, they're done, right? They are
Yeah.
over. There is no
Yeah.
recovering. And
Yeah. But now, we're seeing, I think one of the scariest things to me is Larry Ellison taking over TikTok, putting
yes.
his son, David Ellison, putting Barry Weiss in charge of the editorial content at CBS News. So it's clear that the strategy, they know that Americans and, the world generally are turning on them because what they're doing is horrific. And so what they're trying to do is control the media and control social media, which they know is,
Yeah.
that's why young people have a different view because they're seeing the reality on the ground. And so
Yep.
that's, Netanyahu said the other day that we need to control these platforms, and that's what they're doing. And, Twitter
Yeah.
so far is okay. I still think like there are shadow bans. I think my account is shadow banned a little bit. Yours doesn't seem to be as much, but Musk, I don't think is
Yeah.
sympathetic to the Palestinian cause, at least. He's not, who knows what he really thinks.
I I give Elon Musk credit all day long. I cannot
Yeah.
imagine the amount of pressure that he and the other investors in Twitter are under because
Yeah.
there is no big platform where you're allowed to say the things that you are allowed to say on Twitter anywhere else. You just can't. You
That's
simply
absolutely
can't.
true. That's
And
absolutely
so,
true.
God bless him. He took the trip to Auschwitz with Ben Shapiro. My boy took a bullet for all of us. Okay, that was taking one for the team all day
Yeah.
long. I will forever be grateful for him for that. And yeah, my account isn't shadow banned. I always say if you think your account is shadow banned, just go to replies. Start replying to
Yeah.
people. It really does help. Um
Yeah.
it does. It's wild.
Yeah.
It's so funny. We have a friend, History Speaks. What's it? Matthew.
Yeah.
I think it's
Cockerel.
Cockrell. Okay, I knew it was something with a C.
Yeah.
Um, so sometimes when I don't post a whole lot in a day, and I have been like very deep, like researching you guys. I've got so much good stuff coming for you. You have no idea. I'm like up to my eyeballs and stuff. Um, and it will come. I promise you, it will come, and you're gonna love it when you do see it. I have been working for about 3 weeks now, trying to
Wow.
piece together the Kirk stuff and trying to get a handle on really what I think happened and formulate a coherent argument for why I think what happened and who I think is responsible for it and why I think they're responsible for it. And so when I don't post a whole lot in a day and then I reply to someone, for whatever reason, it gets a lot of traction. And poor
Yeah.
Matthew, I like ratioed the hell out of him earlier over this Manchester thing. Did you see what happened in Manchester, England
Yes.
today? So,
Unfortunately. Yeah.
right. So for those who
Synagogue was.
right, for those who don't know, we don't actually know who it was who did it yet, but a couple people
But all the
target.
authorities are saying it's an anti-Semitic terrorist attack.
Well, of course,
Uh,
everything is, whatever. And of course, it's sad, it's tragic what happened to
of
those
course.
people.
Of
Anytime
course.
that random civilians are attacked when they're going to church, as what happened on Sunday with LDS at the church,
Or
which
when
was
they're going
horrific.
anywhere. It's
Or they're going to a
terrible.
right, but they're going to a synagogue, you're at a church, you're at a
Yeah.
Mormon church, you're at a mosque, anything like that. It's really sick, it's really gross.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter actually who it is or where it's from. But again, random acts of violence do happen, right? And Matthew was kind
Yeah.
of making the argument that we should condemn this. We must come out and condemn it. And if you won't condemn it, then this is like a sign of anti-Semitism, which I totally reject, right? Because I'm like, actually, I don't think it's incumbent on all people to voice something about like I'm an anti-Semite because I
I mean,
it's not that
sorry
I
to
don't care, but it's not that I don't care. Like I think that's sad. I think it's wrong.
of
But it's
course.
like it's a random act of violence. This is not state
Well,
sponsored violence, right?
exactly. Like that's what I was going to say. I mean, people are killed all the time in the
Right.
United States and elsewhere. Like two people killed all the time, like
Right.
so many countries. So like I don't, of course I feel extremely sad. I don't want that to happen to anyone, but like I don't say anything about it unless, there's something to say. And mentally, we just don't know what happened. So there's really nothing to say. Like we don't
Right.
know the motive. We don't um, you know,
Right. It's
and
a it's a when it's state sponsored violence, it's different, right? It
of
just
course,
is. It just
of
is.
course,
And
because
go ahead.
we're responsible for our state. Like we're
Right.
citizens of the state. So when
Right.
when a mentally ill individual acts on their own, that's not. And like I actually disagree with Matthew because I think this just elevating the identity of the victims. Why aren't we, I'm sure two civilians were killed in Gaza today, like they are every day. So,
Right.
you know, um,
Or like I told him, I said, I actually didn't say anything about the LDS church either, because again, I
yeah,
see this as a random act of violence. And I think it's really sad, but I don't comment on random acts of violence in Chicago every weekend. I don't
exactly.
comment on random acts of violence really anywhere. I think that they're tragic. I think that we definitely need more mental health care in this country. I am open to talks about certain aspects of gun control if you can link it to I have some theories about like purchasing guns like straw purchases and things like that, which would actually be more linked to gang violence, gang, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We could talk about it. Do not come in my mentions to talk about this, okay? I will post about it one day. I do not need to get yelled at. All
Well,
right.
and like I don't like this, like if you don't comment on something, sometimes I'm just busy or I have too much to do, and or
Mhm.
like I don't know what happened, so I don't really know what to say.
Right.
And that is very different from the Matt Taibbi situation, I'll say, where
Everyone's so mad at Matt.
well, yeah, that's why he's so mad at everyone. But like that's different where like there's a systemic issue that you claim that you are like censorship, you claim you are the
Mhm,
anti-censorship person, and then this is going on for months and months and months, like some of the worst censorship we've ever
mhm.
seen in this country, and you're not commenting on it. That's very different from like, you know what, I don't know what happened here, this is not state sponsored, and so like I'm gonna withhold
Yeah.
comment till I
Yeah, it's
understand
it's
more.
tragic. Right. And again, a lot of people were making a lot of comments about the attack on the LDS church, and then we find out it's not the kind of person that everybody thinks it is, which again was the reason I withheld, because immediately I'm thinking if you attack a Mormon church, it's probably because you have some experience with
Yeah,
Mormons, and it's something very personal. This feels
yeah.
very personal.
It could,
From what
I
I
mean,
saw,
remember who killed Yitzhak Rabin? It was
right.
an extremist Jew, not an Arab, not a
Right.
Muslim. So
These
like
are
we don't.
usually like very personal attacks. The LDS thing, from what I heard, was he dated a woman who wasn't in the Mormon church. I don't know. Every Mormon I've ever met has been so nice, just like so super crazy kind. And then God bless these people in this church up in Michigan. They actually raised $300,000 for this man's
Mm,
wife and child. I mean, just
uh,
like really wonderful people. God bless them. No sense of like, let's politicize this, let's use this to
yeah,
destroy somebody else. I mean, just like really Christ-like and very forgiving. I mean, just really the epitome of what Jesus teaches us: forgiveness, compassion, and grace. Right.
yeah.
And so God bless those people. When I was reading that today, I was getting all choked up, because we just don't see stuff like this. We do not see this kind of forgiveness, and we need
Yeah,
more and compassion and
shouldn't,
grace.
yeah.
Yeah, and we need
And
so much more of it.
just to clarify, so nobody tries to ruin my career over this, of course, it's heinous that 2 people were killed and 5 injured of any ethnicity or race. I'm very
Doesn't
sorry
matter.
for
They're
the
going to try to
victims and
ruin
their
your.
families. Yeah,
They're going to try to ruin your
of
career
course,
anyways.
but you know,
Yeah.
the point is that lots of people are killed all the time, and I'm not, you know, I'm not going to
Well, we're
comment
this.
until I know more.
No, we're the side that always condemns innocents
Yeah.
being slaughtered. We don't
Yeah.
make excuses for that ever. It doesn't matter.
No,
if
I'm not
they're
making
Jews. Right.
excuses.
No,
No,
I'm
no.
saying like
Yeah.
you don't have to apologize because we don't make excuses whether it's innocents
Yeah.
in Gaza or it's innocents in Manchester. You know,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
exactly.
There's never an excuse.
It's obviously wrong. It's obviously wrong, but yeah.
So,
So,
but let's move on to Matt Taibbi.
what is this part 3 of?
This is part 3. I know. Oh my God. So I have to tell you, and Jenny's going to be so mad at me that I did this, but I don't care because it's so funny to me. So you guys heard that when we were in Chicago, Matt Taibbi told Janine to go fuck herself after he met her in the, not met her, he's known her. Janine is literally the lawyer that worked the case that they pulled the Twitter files from. Okay.
Well, they did. So they did get original documents, but they knew that this was going on because of our case and the Twitter files journalists. And they, you know, they
consulted with you.
Yes. And they took that and they used that information to get the Twitter files and expose this. And they really didn't give us credit. Which, whatever.
Which she never complained about. But Janine took a lot of issue with Matt Taibbi for not speaking out about Gaza. And a lot of people, Janine's not the only one.
No, I actually didn't. I didn't take issue with him for not. I didn't.
Okay.
Because
you're right.
I took issue with him for praising Bari Weiss and condemning people who were upset about the fact that she's getting editorial control over CBS News. And I said that was a step too far. You know, you have not spoken out about the Trump censorship around Palestine, claiming to be the anti-censorship person. You're still like singing the old tunes about what Biden did, even though like he's out. And then finally writing this article calling those of us who are mad about the fact that the queen of genocide denial
was going to get $100 million.
And editorial, which the deal apparently has gone through now. So that's happening. Jealous losers. And I was like, this is a bridge too far. So it took all of that. Like I didn't get on him for not condemning Gaza. I didn't get on him for not talking about the censorship until he wrote this article.
Yeah. So when we were in Chicago, for those of y'all who didn't see our last one, Janine, having known him, Taibbi was there at the award ceremony, the Integrity Media, which was a wonderful gathering.
It was wonderful.
Yep. And he was basically just this giant elitist the whole time. That's how he acted. The editor of the Electronic Intifada got up, gave a wonderful speech, just a really beautiful speech. It was very moving. It brought me to tears. It really did. And she got a standing ovation, of course. And Taibbi was the very last person to stand up for maybe 2 seconds. And I don't think he was clapping when he did stand up, but whatever. He did finally get to his freaking feet and then immediately sits down. It's like 2 seconds. And then he leaves, like he jets out. I think he was actually staying in the hotel that
he was.
Yeah. And so Janine is in the elevator with CJ Hawkins.
CJ was in the elevator with Matt Taibbi and I walked in at the last second.
Right.
And I said, hi, Matt. And he said, go fuck yourself. I actually think he said, go fuck yourselves to me and CJ. And he riding me for shit I didn't say. And I was like, no, I only rode you for shit you did say. As he walked out, because he got out on the 4th floor. I actually remember vividly. And CJ and I were going down to the bottom.
Yeah, and so it was pretty shocking, right? Because it's so uncalled for. Because of course Jenny never cursed at him and was very sweet. She is not me. She is much sweeter than me. If he had told me that, because I believe I actually have cursed at him several times and been quite rude. But of course, he didn't make any eye contact with me whatsoever. So whatever. I couldn't care less. And I just wrote him off. I've written the man off. I get messages from people randomly like, what happened to him? And I'm like, well, he just actually, I don't think anything happened to him. I just think this is who he is. And fuck him.
Yeah.
I do not care anymore. And so, but Janine was in Congress this week.
Yeah, so the executive director of my organization testified at a hearing about the no-fly lists, and so it was like a Republican. It was the Senate oversight on Homeland Security, and essentially it was several Republican witnesses, including Matt Taibbi, testified about how a lot of conservatives have been put on no-fly lists for terrible reasons, which I'm very sympathetic to, including like taking masks off on planes, even belonging to anti-mask groups or anti-COVID restriction groups. And the executive director of my organization was there to testify for the Democrats about how Muslims and Arabs have been subject to this for 25 years. And he actually, he was open on a very conciliatory note. He said, I'm sympathetic to all of you. This shouldn't have happened to you, but like, just so everybody understands, we, the Arab American community, have been subject to this for 25 years.
Real quick.
Feel. Yeah.
I want to pause. And this is the point we have been trying to make for a very long time. It doesn't stop with Palestine. It doesn't stop with Muslims. It doesn't stop with Arabs. Okay. This is about control. It is about using power to shut down people who oppose power. Right. So
100%,
when it was Arabs protesting for whatever reason, it's bam. When it was conservatives protesting for whatever reason, COVID, January 6th, anything like that, bam, shut it down. Use the power against the people. Okay. So this is what we've been trying to get through to you. It doesn't stop at Palestine. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. And so at the end of the hearing, the executive director was like, hi, I'm Abed Ayub, the executive director of the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee. This is our national legal director, Janine Hughes. And he literally like shook my hand and said, nice to meet you. After having a week ago told me to go fuck myself in the elevator. I'm like, maybe he didn't recognize me, but like I didn't look different. Like I had my hair, makeup on. I was wearing a dress. I wasn't like in sweatpants with my hair up or something.
He knew exactly who you were, just like he knew exactly who you were in your glitzy gown at the thing. The dude is just a dick. I don't know what happened to him. I have theories. I'm not going to speculate. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm certainly not a life coach. I would just say that, right now, as far as like decent human beings, your legacy is being written, dude.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's not like my impression of him has sunk so low in the last couple months.
Everyone I know. Yeah.
I'd also like to make the point that while the Republicans were holding this hearing and pretending to care about this, President Trump passed an executive order that really gives limitless authority to the federal government to put people on terrorist watch lists for like basically anything like left-wing-ish, including pro-Palestine activity belonging to pro-Palestine groups, and that this gives them access without a warrant, without any judicial oversight, to like your bank account, like activity, to your phone.
What is the number of the executive order?
Ken Klippenstein was the one who initially brought it to my attention.
Love Ken.
I tweeted about it. Let's see.
I don't even see your tweets anymore.
Yeah, see, I told you I'm shadow banned.
I know.
Let's see.
You need to cuss more. I think if you cuss more, you'll get out of it.
I have a career. So NSPM-7 update. I promise everyone when I'm retired in like 30 years, I'll say everything I really think.
She said, I have a career, you just tweet.
No, I didn't say that. I said, no, I
Just
didn't.
kidding.
It wasn't. I just sent it to you.
NSP.
NSPM-7
Oh,
update.
M.
So,
Yeah.
and no, N as in Nancy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, NSPN?
No, NSPM as in Mary. N as in Nancy, SPM. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha. No,
wait,
I
actually,
get it.
sorry. That's the wrong one. He had two things today. So, but it's very scary. Let's just say that.
I know I've been reading about Trump's and what's motivating all of this. Y'all, I have been so deep in some crazy stuff, okay? Stuff that I have been consulting with people. I've been on the phone basically for about, I don't know, the last 174 hours. I would say it has been wild. If you could see my phone thing, I'm just like calling people nonstop, trying to talk about what is going on, because I
Yeah.
feel like we're at this point right now where it's this weird transition. Like something big is about to happen, and everyone feels it. Everyone, you can feel it deep down on a cellular level. You know what it is, but no one knows what's coming. Every person I talk to has a different theory. And of course, I formulated my own, just dealing, watching, looking at all of this stuff. It's almost ready. It's almost there. And I'm trying to break it down so normies can understand, right? Um, but ever since I feel like ever since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, as far as on the right, everything is up in the air. So I'm watching this dude today. I'm watching these videos today from this man named Lance Wallnou. Wallnou. He is a Presbyterian, or not Presbyterian, excuse me, Pentecostal pastor. He is like one of these NAR pastors. It's like New Apocalyptic Revolution or something like that. Pastor, and it was wild. I was watching a bunch of different clips from him. It's old ones, pre Charlie, post Charlie. And he was very close to Charlie Kirk. And he's extremely Christian Zionist, right? So he is definitely of the Dominionism, the new dispensationalism category, where he truly believes like this kind of Christian evangelicalism where all the Jews have to gather back into Israel, but kind of, but not really, but he doesn't stress that part that much. I actually think these people are all full of shit. I don't, number one, think that they actually believe any of this. I do not believe that these pastors believe the things that they're preaching. I think that they are all heretics. I think they are all liars. I think that they push this stuff for money. Because, some people will say, well, how, this doesn't go with that, because when I put out my theory, they're like, but hold on, they really do believe this. I'm like, no, they don't. They actually don't believe that Jews have to gather there. That's bullshit. That's the thing that they peddle to the normies. That's the thing they peddle to the masses, to sell them on why you must dogmatically support Israel, right?
Did you ever see what is it, the Precious Gemstones or the Gemstones or whatever? It's like,
the one with Adam Sandler?
No. It's
Okay.
like making fun of an evangelical family, like who they're like, kind of like the Billy Graham, very, very wealthy, making a lot of money, but they are all
like Tammy Faye Baker kind of thing. Yeah, like
all behind the
prosperity
scenes, they're all like having sex and doing drugs, and
It's
but
weird
it's all.
I've never been to a church like that. Every church I've ever, I'm like Methodist, group Methodist, and like I've been to Baptist churches. They're always just, they really are very holy people. It's why when I like see or interact with these really hardcore Christian Zionists, it's really foreign to me. It's almost like an alien religion to me. I'm like, what the heck? I've never seen this before. Prosperity pastors. I'm like, I've never interacted with people like this in real life. It's weird. And so I'm watching this Lance Wallano thing today. Wallano, whatever you say his name, and uh, it's very interesting because pre October 7th, he gets no pushback, or not October 7th. I'm sorry, pre September 10th, he gets no pushback. It's just fawning love, right? Post October 7th, he starts really coming down on Candace Owens very hard on September 14th. So this is 4 days after Charlie was killed. And of course, Candace is like not having any of this. She's not buying any of the shit. And I don't blame her, because the official story is absolute dog crap. It is not, it's just false. I'm sorry. There are holes you could drive a freaking semi through. Okay.
You mean you don't think that my love, I am stuck in Orem. I left the gun here and the bloody clothes there.
No, I actually don't think that the transferry guy wrote the transferry genius autistic wrote a full confession in his text messages to his lover after his perfectly planned assassination. Sorry, guys, not buying it. Okay.
I mean, maybe he's the first one. I've never heard a 22-year-old say my love.
Here's the thing, Jenny.
I mean, at least since like 1866.
Right. You were a criminal defense attorney. Did you ever see any of your clients, no matter how dumb they were? And I have had some dumb, I've seen dumb clients.
Yeah.
Okay? Dumb ones. I mean, we are talking straight up dumb.
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking room temp IQ stupid.
Yeah.
And everyone knows you do not write text messages like this.
No,
okay?
The dumbest thing I ever saw was in my 9 years as a criminal defense attorney was, and these were teenagers. So they ended up being charged as minors. They posted photos of the like jewelry they stole on Facebook. But they didn't even say like, I stole the jewelry. They were just like, look at what we got.
Right. Exactly. The dumbest thing I ever saw was one time there was a client who called his mama after he had been arrested. Okay. And said, no, don't worry. And of course he's on the jailhouse phone and he says, don't worry, we threw the guns out the car a mile down the road. Now, of course, the cops have already gotten the guns, and now he has confessed to the guns that they found in the cornfield. But again, this is like way down the road. Nobody does this shit before they've even been arrested, right? This is not. And again, you guys are listening to two people who have dealt with criminals, really stupid criminals, okay? And people just don't do that.
I don't know. I have not spent nearly as much time on this as Mel. I do not know if he did it or not. I don't think those text messages were real. Like, it still could be that he did it and they faked the text messages or something like that. Like, I'm not excluding that. But like those text messages are ridiculous.
No, I think he was asked to be in a certain place at a certain time. I think he was probably caught up in the wrong crowd and whatnot. And I do think he was a patsy, but no, I don't think he actually did any of it. I don't even think he was on that roof, to be quite honest with you. I don't buy it for a second.
As I said, you know a lot more. But shall we move on to the flotilla before it gets too late?
Yes.
So,
Greta, I know.
Greta,
if you guys have any questions, I don't think we have any questions. Yeah,
we had some comments, but
oh, okay. Hi guys. Hi, twin mama. She said I was hoping to take this to my grave, so let me leave my electronic trail and stitch in place. Girl, don't even get me started. I was hoping to take this to my grave, but also check underneath your keyboard because I left you a message confessing to my crime. Come on.
Explicit detail. Everything a prosecutor would need to get a conviction. Like every element of the crime.
Everything. He confirmed possession of every piece of material evidence that they had collected to that point. Okay?
Exactly.
That doesn't happen. It's honey, no. I don't know what to tell you other than this is fake. Okay.
Yeah, all I'll say is the messages are fake. I'm not going to expound upon anything beyond that. Mel knows
Girl,
much
don't worry.
more.
I done figured it out for the both of us. Okay. I
Okay.
done figured the whole thing out. I've been on the phone with everybody. You don't even know. You don't even know the people I have been on the
I
phone with. Okay. And everyone's like, yep, yep, yep.
I have
Everyone.
no I trust you.
Yeah. I have been talking to aides in senators' offices. Everyone's like, yeah, but I'm like,
Uh,
could you get some balls? Could your senator grow some testicles? Okay.
no, that's not what they
No.
do.
Did you see Scott Adams today?
No.
This shit annoyed the crap out of me. Okay. Scott Adams. Let me actually just read
Oh,
this out
did
to
he
you.
say, yeah. I gotta I'm sorry, I'm very thirsty. I'm gonna grab some water while you read that.
Sorry, guys. He said, and I like Scott, don't get me wrong. He said, God, did he tweet it? Oh, he says, so he's tweeting out Tucker, because Tucker, God bless him, he did a great monologue last night. If you guys have not watched it, I'll share it in the thread. He did a really good job. And Scott Adams tweeted out Tucker's monologue. And he said, here's some free speech for you. As a rule, I don't criticize Israel because that would be a career death wish, as literally everyone knows. I don't expect Tucker to survive this unscathed career wise, which will prove his point. This man has freaking terminal cancer, okay? And he still won't criticize Israel. Your mic is off. Yep. I think
I forgot about that.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I forgot. I think I think there was a little bit tongue in cheek there that he was like trying to say,
You
make a point.
think?
A
I
little
don't
bit.
know. I didn't get it. It missed me, and it missed everyone that I saw that quote tweeted that,
I
because he does
I
it.
mean,
I mean,
he's making the point that like you can't do it, which I think is his way of saying like that's why I haven't done it.
just
But
fucking
yes,
do
he is
it,
terminally
man.
ill. Yes, he should
You
fucking do it. Of
know,
course he,
I just can't. Just do it.
yeah.
Just stop being afraid and do
Yeah.
it. Everybody, do it.
Do
Okay,
it.
like
The more
it's
of us, this is the thing. The more of us
yeah.
who do it, the more it becomes not a
A
prohibited thing.
taboo, like a thing,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah. It is just, y'all, I don't know, man. It's like, God, I'm going to say something I'm going to regret.
Don't.
I won't. I won't. No, I was going to say it's
Mel
like,
and yeah, no.
it's, I don't know. It's like women walking around with short skirts. Like eventually you just do it,
Yeah,
right? Like
yeah,
all of these social taboos that have been inflicted on us for so long, for so many reasons. There's so many things that, like, it's like you couldn't be gay for the longest time. And then everyone was just like,
yeah.
fuck it, you know?
But we're at that point with the dam breaking. I mean, the dam is breaking, but like the more that's what I'm
Right.
saying. Every single person who speaks out, who comes forward, who says, even just among family and friends, no, this is not okay. And like,
Right.
there are some serious problems with our relationship with Israel and what Israel is doing. Every single person gets 10
Right.
others to speak out. Like that's,
Right. Yeah. And just for you guys to know that the ones who do speak out now, I promise you, you are inspiring. I got a message from just a girl, a woman that I went to high school with. I adore her. I love her so much. And we were really close during COVID. She's an ER nurse. She's actually a stroke nurse. And, I was like her confidant during COVID and whatnot. And a lot of the things that she saw in hospitals, she definitely helped to inspire me to speak out, because I knew that she was scared. And she wasn't like crazy. She wasn't like me, super not like hardcore anti-vax or anything like that. But she saw things going on in hospitals that violated her conscience. And it was very hard for her. She struggled and she really spoke out and whatnot. So, but, and all other things, she's just a total, I don't, not to insult her, but she's like a total normie. She's not like radical like me.
Yeah.
And then she sends me this message over the weekend. We haven't talked in like a year or so. And she had saw me on Candace, right? And she was like, "You have inspired me to look into this so much." She said, "I went to your Twitter page and I saw all of your stuff and I was just blown away." And I was like, "Holy crap. I don't know anything about this." And so
Yeah.
she's talking about it now, and
Yeah.
like, God bless her. And it was a reminder to me that there's so many people who aren't like us. They're not immersed in this. They don't know. We have to
Yeah.
be patient,
Yeah.
and we have to continue to speak out about things. Like, people all the time, they're like, "Why are you talking about this crap? Everybody knows this. Why are you giving attention to these trolls when I
No,
quote
most
tweet them?" And I'm like, "No, I'm quote tweeting them with very basic ideas and basic concepts because you don't know, but a lot of normies are actually just getting introduced to this shit." Okay. And
exactly.
so,
That was actually an issue I struggled with my whole life because I grew up with
mhm,
it because my father's Palestinian. So
right.
I just always assumed like everybody had some basic knowledge and then they were just like kind of evil like
Right.
because they were on Israel's side. And then it like dawned on me even after October 7th, like most people really don't understand the
No,
situation.
they don't know anything.
And like still but we have a question I'm going to direct to you because I don't know the answer. From Umar, do we have any new updates on the Israeli? I think that's what's his name, Tom Alexandrovich or whatever, that was caught in the pedophile sting
Yep.
operation in Vegas and was allowed to flee to Israel. And he thanks
So
us.
yes, thank you so much. So Umar, what we know so far, Alexandrovich he had a Zoom or like not arraignment. This was his first hearing. Just so people know, when you get caught up in something like this is like a couple. I don't know. North Carolina is a very, very slow criminal justice system. So many states are much faster. Usually, if they're like Democrat ran, they're certainly much faster than anything like
Yeah.
Republican ran. But he was initially busted on, I believe it was August 9th. So I don't know how it works. Is this how it is in New York? You're in uh gosh, what is it called? Before you go to Superior Court, you are in
Oh, like
no.
New York it's
And
different. Yeah.
you're oh, I'm sorry, you're in district court in North Carolina. You're charged in district court, right?
Okay.
Then it goes to superior, or excuse me, then it goes to a grand jury. And if you are indicted by the grand jury, then you move to superior court. So a charge
Oh.
like this could take literally, I'm not even joking you, 2 years to clear. Okay.
Wow. Yeah, that wouldn't happen in New York, where
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not anymore, but that was where I practiced criminal law.
No, I mean this would be very common. The trials that I sat in, which were like the biggest trial I ever sat in was in a attempted murder trial, and that guy sat in jail for 4.5 years before it actually went to trial. So
Wow. Yeah.
I don't know. I think this is like it's what class C, D, E felony,
I don't
something
know.
like this.
I
Definitely
practice yeah,
yeah,
I practice New York State criminal law, so it's all different. I don't know federal
right.
criminal law terribly well,
Well,
but
no, this is still a state law, but
oh,
in
it
the
was a
state of North
state, but it's a
Carolina,
different
right?
state. Yeah.
Yeah, in the state of North Carolina, it's probably like a class D felony, and it would still take about 18 months to clear. So it's very
Okay.
early. He's still in Israel. He
Israel,
hasn't
yeah.
come back, and to be quite honest with you, he's not ever going to come back.
I
Ever.
mean, they're saying, I think last I heard they were like claiming he'd appear via, tele, whatever.
He did. He actually did
yeah.
appear via Zoom
Yeah.
on his last court date, but that's it.
Yeah.
It's just going to take a long time, and it's going to get pled out probably whenever it advances. I only know North Carolina state law, and it's gonna advance to Superior Court, and probably sometime in February he's going to plead out to something very minimal, and he'll never return, to be quite honest with you. And he will not ever register or anything like that. There will be zero justice served, to be quite honest with you. It's
Well,
unfortunate.
Can we talk a little bit about the judge's decision the other day, Judge Young's decision in Boston, because that was a big one from my
Yes.
perspective as a free speech
Yeah.
lawyer. So this judge in Boston issued a 161-page decision, which I read carefully twice.
I know. I
Fun
called
stuff.
her in the middle of it. And she's like, I can't talk. I have to go.
I heard it. It was really something, I have to say. I haven't read such a compelling decision in a while. And he's 85 years old. He's a Reagan appointee, so he's not some lefty. And basically, he said that the Trump administration's policy of detaining non-citizens for pro-Palestine activity violated the First Amendment. He confirmed, as I believe and have said for a while, that non-citizens have the same First Amendment rights as citizens, because the First Amendment is a restraint on government. It says Congress shall not abridge the freedom of speech. That applies to the executive too. Courts have been clear about that. The reason the Constitution says Congress is because like the people who framed the Constitution didn't ever think that the executive would be like effectively making law. So, it's very clear that applies to any executive agency and the president. And so the court agreed with this theory, which I think is very important, and that we do not exclude people from this country because of their views, their speech, their political activities and beliefs. And just, deeming ideas dangerous is antithetical to our constitutional tradition. And he was pretty scathing towards the administration, I think rightfully. And one thing I think he did that was really important was he dissected the allegations against people like Mahmoud Khalil, Rameza Ozturk, who people probably are familiar with, who were detained and put in deportation proceedings for being involved in pro-Palestine activity. Rameza Ozturk just wrote an op-ed. And there were a lot of, she just wrote an op-ed. That was all she did. I'm
sorry. I thought you said a new op-ed. Sorry.
No.
She did.
Then they whisked her off the streets. 5 masked ICE agents while she was on the way to like an end of Ramadan dinner. This 5'2" woman with asthma, just disgusting. So they were not plaintiffs. This case was actually brought by professional associations, and what they said was what was happening was chilling their speech. So they were very afraid. They had stopped engaging in pro-Palestine activity, and then so the judge sort of went through. And there had actually been a trial with lots of testimony, and the judge went through all of it and dissected it and basically said they're conflating anti-Semitism and terrorism with pro-Palestine activity. Who very carefully went through all the statements. He rightfully noted that what the administration, and particularly Secretary Rubio, is doing is sort of saying these protests are full of lefty, violent, terrorist, Hamas-supporting people, and Mahmoud Khalil is one, and Rameza Ozturk. And like in criminal or immigration court, guilt is an individual. You don't just say like these people are doing something and you're kind of one of them, so therefore like we can take you away from your wife and child, which is what they're trying to do. So it was a very important decision. Of course, this is just the lowest level of federal court, the district court. So this will likely be appealed. I mean, it will almost definitely be appealed by the government. I think this case will probably be the one that gets to the Supreme Court. Like one of them will get to the Supreme Court. So I think because this one was so impactful, and the judge, ended on quite an interesting note I've never seen, where he said, I can't decide on the remedy. Like, so when people are asking for relief in court, there's always like a remedy. What are you asking for? And the plaintiffs didn't want money. They wanted the government to stop doing what it's doing. And he said, but we can't trust this government because it's effectively lawless. And we've seen how it just disregards it. So I don't really know what to do. And so we're going to hold a hearing on like what we can do as a remedy to make sure this doesn't happen. And it was really remarkable. And again, like I want to reiterate, this comes from an 85-year-old Reagan appointee. This isn't some like lefty judge who so
do you think he's trying to draw it out?
Draw out what?
Draw out the decision. So perhaps if he's asking for remedies, is he trying to make the case last as long? So perhaps we can stretch it past the midterms. I mean, I'm thinking That's what
Well,
I would do.
I think he ordered a hearing soon. So like the midterms are
Yeah.
another year away. So I don't think so.
Well, yes and
I think
no.
he
Yeah.
genuinely wants to hear from the attorneys about like what can
Okay.
we actually do to prevent this from happening.
Yeah.
And he used language like this is completely never happened in our constitutional tradition, which I've
Ever.
been saying the whole time. I mean,
Ever.
there was some, and he talks about the cases from the Red Scare era where some people were deported for belonging to the Communist Party. But those
Yeah.
were very different because if you were a citizen, you could also be punished for belonging to the Communist Party. It was just you couldn't be
Correct.
deported because you're a citizen, but you could be like put in prison or fined or otherwise punished. So basically,
Hold,
what he was, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I want to interject there because again, if you were a member of the Communist Party and you were advocating against the US government,
Yeah,
okay? That is not
exactly.
what is being alleged here. Okay.
I was gonna say that next. That's part of it. He was
Yeah.
saying like the courts required some nexus to like a violent plan to overthrow the U.S. government.
The
Um,
US government.
government. Yeah.
Okay.
The idea that we are going to penalize foreigners for protesting against a foreign country,
Yeah.
a foreign country is completely unheard of in our
Yes.
constitutional tradition. And
Yep.
so when people say, you guys are obsessed with Israel, why are you always obsessed with Israel? It's because they are taking away our constitutional rights in a way we have never
Yep.
seen.
Yep, because they are obsessed with Israel. Our obsession is literally a mirror of their obsession. Okay? And we're about 50 years late. Okay, so we're catching up as fast as we can. And speaking of the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, perhaps you have seen today, but a leak was made of the drop site on drop site news, and this is of emails that were hacked. And one of them was of yours truly, your favorite Secretary Rubio had met with Larry Ellison, who again is this rich billionaire.
He's the richest person in the world right now.
Well, he goes back and forth. Technically, Elon's back on top.
Okay, whatever.
But Larry Ellison is a Zionist Jew, billionaire Zionist Jew, dual citizen, American, Israeli. Okay. And it's important, people are like, well, what are you going to say, Jew? I'm like, well, actually, it does seem to be a part of his, whatever he believes, whatever he subscribes to. I don't know. Because oddly enough, I actually get the feeling that he is in fact atheist or secular or something like that. So it's just some kind of cultural thing for him.
But lots of Zionists, lots of the most hardcore Zionists are not religious.
Are secular, right? They're not religious at all, right? There is like an ultra orthodox that absolutely is religious, certainly, but a lot of these secular Jews, quote unquote, I don't know. People, it's a weird thing, and it creates a lot of confusion for people, whatnot. He identifies as Jewish, so I'm going to call him Jewish. It is what it is. And he says that, so in, before the 2016 election, he vetted American presidential candidates to see which ones would be good for Israel. Okay, again, richest man in the world. He is vetting American presidential candidates to see which one would be good for a foreign nation.
And let's remember, this is the guy who just bought TikTok.
Again, yes. And so he picks up Marco Rubio. That's his pick in 2016. And of course, we know that Sheldon Adelson, that was his pick too. Little Marco, he just gave the best little hand jobs there were, and everybody loved him. So everybody was backing him, and then freaking Trump came in like a damn bulldozer and took them all out. Little Marco took out Lion Ted, took out all of them. And then what do you know? Fucking Trump just ended up going the same damn way. It's so depressing to me.
Well, look what happened to
Regardless,
Charlie Kirk. So that's all I have to say.
it's so sad. Oh my God, it makes me so sad.
I
Don't get me.
think,
I have been raging, like I said, for like 156 hours. But so I want to read this little thing from here. So
yeah.
a few hours after Ellison had his dinner with Marco Rubio, he responded in an email to the, at the time, Israeli ambassador to the UN, who is now the Israeli ambassador to Germany. And he said, "Hi, Ron. Great meeting with Marco Rubio. I set him up to meet with Tony Blair. Marco will be a great friend with Israel." So again, we have got these billionaire Zionists screening, literally screening American presidential candidates to see which ones will be good for Israel. What the actual, okay.
And that's what's happened with Congress for debt. Like the Israel Lobby book by John Mersheimer and Steve Walt was in extreme detail explains how this has been going on with Congress forever, not forever, but for a few decades. So, I mean, we just want our country back. Like we want our country to work for Americans.
That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, and we don't think it's good for Americans to slaughter babies. Like we don't want that. That's not what we do.
It's not just that, here's the thing. Even if you don't have any compassion for Palestinians, can't call yourself a Christian if you don't, but whatever. Maybe you're an atheist. I don't know. Even if you're just some kind of libertarian, atheist, sociopath who doesn't care about anything, I was reading Brandon Tatum's post earlier in which he says, I don't know if you guys know who Brandon Tatum, I think he's like some kind of retired cop or something. I don't even know.
He's one of their influencers, right?
He is an influencer. We know that Israel is now paying their influencers $7,000
a post.
I don't think if I added up all of my payouts on Twitter all year, I would have paid $7,000.
Oh, I make maybe 500.
If I added up, I probably made, let's see, we're in October now. I've probably made, I don't know, 4,000 or 5,000 total for the full year. So we're 10 months.
Well, you're clearly a paid Qatari influencer,
right? So that's that'll tell you what you need to know there. But so hold on, let me read it to you guys. I want to read it because it was so. He says, gosh, sometimes I tweet way too much. He says, because he's talking about Tucker, and he says, "This is why I despise Tucker." He says, "Why is he not mentioning that Israel has to spend all of that money on U.S. contractors and equipment?" Number one, that's false. Israel actually has a special carve-out in their military financing, which allows them to only spend 75% of their payments that they get from the U.S. on U.S. military. Then the other 25% they're allowed to spend on their own domestic military production. Only country in the world that gets to do that. Number one. Number two, he says that bolsters our economy. Well, you know what else bolsters our economy, Brandon? I don't know, building bridges in America, building freaking roads in America, building any fucking thing in America still pays American workers, American companies to do shit. And then guess what? Then we actually have something to show for it other than dead kids in Gaza and giant holes in the fucking desert in Yemen. All right?
Exactly.
So, actually, that's the dumbest of all the Hasbara lies. That's the dumbest of them all. Any money spent by the American government in America would bolster the American freaking economy. Okay.
Yes.
And then we'd have something to show for it. We could have a bridge or a new school or something instead of just shame. All right. Which is
Yeah.
all we have to show for everything we've ever given Israel is shame and destruction and heartbreak and horror. All right.
Amen, sister.
Sorry. Get off
No.
my soapbox.
You should become a minister.
It's so maddening when I see that, because I'm like, you know what? Because here's the thing. When I posted, when we went and attacked Gaza, or excuse me, Yemen, back for Israel, again, I posted in February about that. The same freaking losers who will say, whoa, all those bombs, they bolstered the American economy. When I said, hey, my daughter's school needs a new roof, all those same assholes were like, well, why don't you go do that roof yourself? Or why don't you, your state should be doing that, or all kinds of other bullshit, So they don't actually care about bolstering the American economy at all.
Of course they don't.
They don't give a shit about any of that.
Of course they don't. They would nuke us in a second if it benefited them. Mm-hmm. It's just I mean it's
gross. It's gross.
Anyway, I have got to work tomorrow morning. Yes. So I need to wrap it up, but this was super fun. I love these spontaneous lives.
And, I know. And we'll be back on Sunday, and hopefully
we'll be back.
I think we're going to have a special guest, so we will see. So excellent. We'll see you guys, and thank you for joining us.